You're listening to AchtungMillwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Bermondsey. Accept no substitute.
Welcome, dear listeners. Welcome to Raucous Rangers, a lively Loftus Road for a visit, of course, of the Lions to their West London neighbours. I shan't give them a term at rivals. Lions, two teams just coming out on the pitch. Lions in orange this afternoon. Your Millwall team, Sarkich in goal. Jake Cooper, Wes Harding, either side of them, Danny Mack, Joe Bryan in front of them, Billy Mitch, George Honeyman, Brooke Norton-Cuffy, Zian Fleming, Duncan Watmore up front, Kevin Nisbet. The bench looks strong today. We've got Tanganga, our new signing in this week, that's caught the imagination of the Millwall world. Sitting on the bench this afternoon, Casper Denor, amongst others. 2,600 travelling Lions. There's Joe Edwards just taking the applause for the Edwards Revolution, dear listeners. Where are you in the Edwards Revolution? I'm stood high in the upper deck of the away end. Rail seating, all the rage. They've got some down the other end, I see, but certainly the upper decks of the away end have rail seating. You get like a fold down seat, otherwise you're stood standing, terrace style, like the olden days. As you can hear, I'm amidst the singing choir of the Lions, the Bermondsey Male Choir, so to speak. Big shout out to Millwall TT and also Angelo, both of whom I was talking to downstairs. Also Mickey Simpson of that Millwall podcast, all of whom I saw in the very cramped confines of the what passes for a hospitality area downstairs. I don't know about you, dear listeners, and I was saying to the boys, I'm looking forward to watching Millwall these days. The first half football we saw last week was something else. Of course it all went off the rails, of course it did. I know that, you know that, but that first half football promised so much. Let's hope we can see some more of that this afternoon for relegation haunted QPR in the bottom three. The Lions, dare I say it, listeners, that we come here expecting to win this, or is that too bold a talk for you? Full-scale military operation getting into the ground this afternoon. Listen, I've never seen so many police and stewards to chaperone us into the away end. Bit over the top, in my humble opinion. Playing the ball out from the back. I've never seen such things in all my life.
It's fucking Barcelona.
I've never seen it in my life. I'll get itchy with it though, I'll get itchy.
It's like, we don't do this,
because we ain't Barcelona. Millwall playing the ball out from the back never ceases to amaze and wonder the travelling supporters, you can hear. Have you ever known such times? Transatlantic show business with Green Day name-checking us. Friendly messages with the Detroit Lions. Joe Edwards ringing up Jose Mourinho, Antonio Conte, and asking their opinions on Tanganga. Strange days that are here to stay. I think that's a Green Day song, isn't it? Correct me if I'm wrong, listeners. I'm going to have to check that out on my Spotify when I get home. So I know nothing of Green Day in all truth. I believe they're a beat band, a beat combo from America. This is Millwall now. This is Brooke Norton-Cuffy on the right side. We're on 5 minutes. Takes his man on. He tries to step over it, but it's going to be cleared by QPR. There's a bloke in a Mexican hat. Mexican hat, like a sombrero. I don't know why you would do that, but still. Bit of fun, maybe. No place for fun. Millwall away game. Little ball through, Kevin Nisbet on the left side. Ball across the face of the goal. The ref, offside. One moment, time had frozen. ancient TV programme I used to watch when I was young. It was an Australian programme, listeners, called The Flying Boomerang, The Magic Boomerang, And the boy in the Aussie outback, when he threw this boomerang, which has Aboriginal powers, it could freeze time. And that was what that moment there was like. It's like the boy had thrown the magic boomerang. It's come from the vaults of my memory, that has, listeners. It was about mid-60s, black and white, mid-60s. Older than Skippy, I think, because that was shot in colour. I think this was shot in black and white. Check it out on YouTube. I'm sure it's going to be on there. But there was a moment there where everything froze, like in the magic boomerang. 11 minutes in. Sarkic gave an interview with the, I think it was the News at 10, might have been the South London, can't remember which it is, operating purely from memory this afternoon, listeners, saying how much he enjoys being part of the playmaking, so to speak, of the side. Clearly that's been the reason for his signing. I think he's improving as a goalkeeper, game by game though, would you agree, listeners?
These defenders do not want that fucking ball.
They look very uncomfortable, don't they?
Because every single time their defenders get the ball, they're trying to hoof it up or pass it out to the wingers.
Yeah.
If the wingers ain't back enough, they're passing it off the pitch.
All right, finds Brook Norton Cuffy on the right. That's going to go for another throw-in, another chance for a long throw for Zian Fleming. Ticking towards 17 minutes. The last long throw, which I was being slightly dismissive of, finished up bouncing across the face of the goal. So let's see what Zian can do here. Lower. It was taken low. Come back to Zian. Ball into the box. Almost a take and turn there by Honeyman. It's bouncing around. It's going to go for a corner. Right side. Offside. Millwall playing the ball across the back, almost getting caught out there, dear listeners. 20 minutes into a game. It's the price of beauty. Sometimes you have to. Oh dear, there's a poor bit of control there by Wes Harding. So yeah, a couple of slapstick moments there by Millwall. That's a long ball forwards. Joe Bryan takes it under no real pressure. Lovely turn by Billy Mitchell. I think that was a dangerous ball there. Dick Norton Cuffy looking for the overlap by Danny McNaughton. Danny's imagination weren't going there, was it?
No, he's thinking about defending. That's very tactics.
Yeah. He's looking for the overlap.
That's very tactics.
Huge, long range raking pass for Jake Cooper. Almost finds Brook Norton Cuffy. Just gets away. Until 22 minutes, about the halfway point of the first half. It's been a bright enough start. It's not a classic by any stretch of the imagination. Scrappy game in some senses, but Millwall certainly are looking okay. QPR look poor. They look like the relegation contenders they are, but obviously the first goal will be a crucial moment in this game, listeners. Whoever gets that will get a big boost in the arm. And at the halfway point of 0-0, it can still go either way. Oh, strange touch from QPR.
They don't want it, mate.
They really look unhappy with the ball, don't they?
They don't want it at the back, mate. They're fucking. If we put pressure on them.
You see why they're relegation candidates.
Oh yeah, 100%, mate. If it's not this season, next season they will get. Because a team like Portsmouth will come up and stay up.
Yeah.
And they'll be good next season if they don't go down this season.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'll be out of them and Huddersfield.
Need that first goal, won't we? First goal.
Yeah, 100%. How we played against Middlesbrough, but if we. That first half, that 40 minutes, we would have.
Oh no, well, we played beautiful football.
We outplayed them, but we just didn't take the chances.
No.
Like, it was just one of them days. You know what I mean?
QPR now breaking on the left side, their left. Joe Bryan is scoring the 7 down, he gets a cross in. It's 1-0 to QPR. Cross into the far post, touch back, it crosses the line, 1-0. Poor goal to concede after looking a better side for me. 27 minutes. Basic ball in, caught at the far post. Scuffed across the line. 1-0.
Fucking wake up, you cunt! Fucking hell!
The bloke with the sombrero has brought an old school rattle, which is causing a lot of cheering to our left, dear listeners. This is the ball across the left side. Shot over the bar, thankfully, from the 7. It was closer than you think, listeners. 32 minutes, come to 33. That's ball Billy Mitch. Finds Brooke Norton-Cuffey on the right side. 33 minutes. First run we've seen from him. There's a ball. There's another poor ball in, though. Quality, I've said it a few times on these shows, listeners. Our final ball is wanting. He's done well, that striker there, the 30. Breaking forwards, we're on the ball midfield. Great tackle there by Danny Mack. Great tackle. Great tackle. Gives Millwall a chance to break then. 33. Ticking towards 34. What was taking it into touch, unfortunately. Beautiful tackle, Danny Mack there, listeners. The 30 was breaking forwards with intent. We're just getting struggling to keep the ball at the moment, listeners. When we do get it, we're not using it wisely. We're getting pinned back, we're playing the ball out, listeners. There's a shot from distance, that's about a yard wide, that was close. We're just not being sharp enough with this playing the ball out business. Getting pinned back. That was a lucky break there, that shot was curling in. Finished going on what, a yard wide, but you know what I mean, listeners. Contradictory. Coming towards 40 minutes, another Millwall move forward breaks down. This gives the 30 the chance on the left side. Got Wes Harding there, but it's still been able to 7, who has caused us issues this afternoon. That's 7 into the penalty. That's going to the 30. QPR keep possession. We're not clearing our lines particularly well, listeners. In truth, but nothing much to report from a Mill perspective in that half. We haven't troubled their goalkeeper at all, and we have gone forwards earlier on. The last ball has let us down. So, poor half, really, and obviously to concede the goal makes it a very poor half from the Mill perspective. Billy Mitchell now collects. Nice little 1-2. Billy on the left side. Finds Watmore. Ball into the middle. Nisbet hits it over. Best moving shot of the half, which probably says something because that was high over the bar into the scoreboard. 43 minutes. I missed how long the added time was. A lady had to squeeze past me. It's almost like a scene out of a Carry On movie. Carry On Millwall, listeners, because the gap on the rail seating is extremely tight. So I was in a kind of a Sid James type situation. She squeezed through what little gap there was. Anyway, I resume. So I don't know how long there is of added time to take place. It's a free kick at the moment to Queen's Park Rangers. On the right side, ball in deep. That's a looping header onto the roof of the net. No fluency to Mills playing this half at all, listeners. Every move forwards seems to misplace a pass, break down, go wrong somehow or another. I'm towards 3 minutes into the added time, so I don't know how long of added time we've got, but there's a free kick from Millwall just on the right side of the centre circle. We've shown very little. That one opportunity for Nisbet from that ball in from the left being the only chance of the half, really, that I would pick out. But this is a late free kick, chance for Danny Mack to put the ball into the melee. Towards Jake Cooper, who's offside. We've been caught on that no end of times. Half time. There it is.
Wake up, you cunt! Wake up!
As you can tell, the paying punters are unhappy with that, rightly so. QPR 1, Millwall 0 at the break. Just waiting for the QPR side to come out for the second half. Millwall are out, dear listeners. after a very poor first half, it's going to have to be said, I thought we looked second best. QPR haven't exactly dominated, we've just shown nothing. We've barely troubled the QPR goalkeeper, and at times, quality of our passing, crossing, has been Sunday morning level, so room for improvement, let's say that at least. Second half, Millwall will be attacking the away end. Let's hope they can give the fans something to get behind. There's 2,500 Millwall fans here wanting to be entertained to some level. We haven't had that in the first half, so let's see what we can get in the second. And away we go. I thought at times in that first half, QPR looked very much the relegation candidates that they are, but somehow we've contrived to get them a goal in front of us and make ourselves look like a team that have only just met each other. Watmore has done very little this half. I mean, a player that I've generally speaking of liked for his energy, but we haven't seen any energy from him at all. This game, this is QPR on the break forwards though. Brian clears at the strike as the midfielder was pressing on there, so it was a left-sided corner. Watmore I like, but he's shown nothing. I think Nisbet obviously had one chance in that first half, which he managed to put into row Z. As it is, 47 minutes, it's going to be a left-sided corner, Queen's Park Rangers. Very officious referee, dear listeners. If he was an employee of the post office, he would almost certainly have been involved in the prosecution of sub-postmasters. That kind of person. Then comes the left-sided corner. It was a deep one. We do roll it clear. But back to QPR. During the brief flurry of playoff talk excitement that happened just before the Middlesbrough game, this was one of the games that deemed by, I think I might have deemed it as a winnable match. It's not looking so winnable at the moment. 1-0 down on 48 minutes. This is Queen's Park Rangers pressing on our right side. It's crossing into the box. We're struggling to get it clear. That's going to go straight into touch. Well, you can hear the opinion of the masses. Fleming, left side as we attack. He's got Watmore overlapping him into some space. Ball was into Nisbet, but taken away from him. 53 minutes. Millwall now. Bringing the crowd into it at least. This is Norton Cuffy. He's been quiet, comparatively quiet. He's drifted inside there from the right side. This is Honeyman. Floating, neither shot nor cross from George Honeyman. 54 minutes. Millwall sub. Nisbet comes out. Longman comes in. Not a good game for Nisbet, dear listeners. Longman comes in. Presumably Fleming's and Watmore going to be strikers now. This travelling public have come here to see forward play. We're not getting it. Might write a letter to my MP. This is Longman now. Wins a throw-in on the right side. Norton Cuffy goes over. 57 minutes. Danny Mack goes over to take it instead. Danny gives the ball away, unfortunately. QPR will bring out. Joe Bryan coming out for Murray Wallace. Tanganga coming out for Norton Cuffy. Very, very little to raise your spirits from this performance, but that's something at least. Ball breaks, Murray Wallace on the left, surging forward, 69 minutes. Inside is Billy Mitch. It's a floated ball onto the far post, aiming for Danny Mack there, but it's nudged away by a hoop shirt. Only as far as George Honeyman now. Ball floated in. Balls to Billy Mitch. No option for a shot despite the calls from the crowd. That's Murray Wallace. Taken by the goalkeeper. Cross from the left side. Ticking towards 70 minutes, listeners. Billy Mitch spreads play. Murray Wallace now on the left side. 71 minutes. Still pressing on the left. Inside is Billy. I don't know why people are booing him. Nice little take and turn by Murray Wallace. Nice decent. Oh, falls to Joel Honeyman. Oh, off the line! Ball in from the edge of the penalty area. That was hoofed off the line. Now QPR player goes down injured. QPR player remonstrating the Millwall crowd. That's going to end badly. And some stuff got slung on the pitch there, listeners. Just don't help with anyone. Is Ian telling people to cool it? And Vor throws stuff back into the crowd. This has got every capacity to go badly. Well, a little bit of drama, dear listeners.
And you know you will, you'll run. And you know you will, you'll run. And you know you will, you'll run.
Ball breaks. This is the 30 on the left side now. Shot from distance into the Mill defence. It breaks. This is Billy Mitch. Ball down the middle. Watmore to chase it. Ran out of steam. He got his foot to it, but didn't have the oomph to continue the run there, listeners. We've consistently managed to turn and run into 3 or 4 white and blue shirts this afternoon, listeners, with no creativity whatsoever, no imagination. Been a very, very disappointing performance. 84 minutes. QPR got a free kick on the left side, but Millwall perspective, we've barely troubled their goalkeeper. I can't remember him having to do anything this afternoon, in truth. Nothing springs to my mind, put it that way. The fact that Nisbet left the game so early probably speaks volumes. He's our top striker. There's a chance in front of goals, 2-0. Shot spilled by Sarkic, slammed home for 2-0. Game, set, match. Poorest performance under Joe Edwards, in my opinion. Been absolutely awful display by Millwall. Shot from distance, spilled by Sarkic, slotted home from close. 2-0. This has been very, very poor, listeners. Oh my word. Sarkic, I suppose, spilled for the second, so, criticism for that. He's not done too badly, I suppose. Otherwise, I'm thinking hard across the whole side to pick out like a man of the match. There isn't one. A worst player of the match. I think they've all played uniformly poorly. It's like a malaise. I can't. Going forwards, we've shown nothing. I can't think of any moments that we've troubled the QPR goalkeeper at all. I couldn't stand to be corrected, but I can't remember any. There was one shot from Nisbet in the first half, which he put high. Apart from that, I don't remember anything. We've shown no verve or spark in the second half. We tried to raise the tempo a little bit. That fizzled out. And it's been awful against the side that are deservedly, in my opinion, having watched them, in the bottom 3. So I don't know. I was actually weighing up whether to go to Hull, listeners, looking at various options. None of it's easy. The train rides and changing at various places around the country. But I think this afternoon's made my mind up. I'm going to stay at home. There is final whistle. QPR 2, Millwall 0. Boos, rightly so, very poor performance. Nothing really that stands out in my mind to anything positive about that Millwall showing at all. Man of the match, there weren't one. By far the poorest showing under Joe Edwards since he's arrived. So anyway, there it is from a very cold and empty Loftus Road. QPR 2, Millwall 0.
Achtung, Millwall.
Huge welcome on the show now to a new voice. We do like to get new voices on the show. And this is Paul Cree, writer, performer, rapper, and host of the Lager Time podcast. Paul, big welcome on the show, mate. Great to have you.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure.
And what a choice of game yesterday.
Yeah.
I thought, as I've got a wordsmith on the show, listeners, I better look up thesaurus for the variations on disastrous, Paul. I've got adverse, calamitous, cataclysmic, catastrophic. They all sum up yesterday's showing by Millwall, mate. I really don't know where that performance came from. We've gone from, for me, the best half an hour I've seen the Millwall side play in many, many years, and I'll go back a long way, as you can see on your screen, to that, and it was diabolical. I don't get where that performance came from yesterday, mate. Do you?
No, it was very frustrating. It reminded me of some of the worst aspects of the Gary Rowett tenure. There was no ideas of watching it. I felt there was
No.
there's a big gap between the middle and Nisbet. I felt like Honeyman was sitting quite deep. All they were trying to do was go down the right with Norton Cuffy, and he couldn't seem to get past his man, and that was it. That was the only idea they had, and I don't know. It was just lackluster. It was flat. I thought they started off all right with a bit of energy, and it because for my sins, I was sat in the home end.
Saw that.
So it made it even worse, because I couldn't
I
say
can
anything.
imagine. Yeah.
But so I was watching where my eye line was in the first half was right where their back line was, and they got mistakes in them. I was thinking, I was there with my brother, who's also a Millwall fan, and we were like, these lot are there for the beating, but
Yeah.
we couldn't get past them. Got nothing,
No creativity. I mean, the bloke I was standing next to us down the opposite end of the ground, as you can imagine, and we said the same thing in the opening 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I thought QPR looked very poor. They were deservedly looking like relegation candidates, Paul. I mean, you can see why they're second from bottom, mate. And somehow we started to make them look better and better as the game wore on. And I think, as you said, we had no imagination. We had nothing. The players that you would have expected, the starting 11, I didn't particularly disagree with it. It slightly picks itself with the injuries, and maybe some would say we should have started Saville, but Billy's not done that badly for me. I don't think Billy did that badly yesterday. In fairness, it's very hard to pick out any standout players on a uniformly poor performance, but I didn't think Billy was the villain of the piece. He seems to get it a little bit online, mate, doesn't he?
I thought he was best of the bad bunch, to be honest. He was buzzing around in the middle. It was a few sideways passes, but actually he got a few forward. And that one little opportunity in the first half, which is right where we were sat, was him. It was he got down the left, and I think Brian put him through. I can't remember.
Was it Watmore crossing from the left? And I think
maybe it was Watmore. I thought it was.
Maybe you've probably got a better view of it, mate. The ball came in from the left. Let's say that. I mean, that was a one chance. If you look at the BBC stats, listeners, you'll see two shots, one on target, which came in the second half, and that was a chance in the first half, which fell to Nisbet, who has become the villain of the piece at the moment, Paul. But he did put that one high. I think it might have hit the scoreboard above the at the home end. It was poorly taken.
It was way over. I thought what was poignant to me in that moment was that was the one attack that went down the left. It's the only in the whole game, and I was excited to see Joe, because I don't get to see too many games, and I was quite excited to watch Joe Bryan, but he barely left the halfway line, and everything was going on the other side with Morton Cuffy, who, not for want of trying, but he couldn't beat his men, so we were going nowhere. But we get one move down the left, and it creates the only opportunity we had in the game.
A lot of players. I mean, it would include Brooke Norton Cuffy, actually, who had bad days. I mean, these are good players, but had bad days yesterday. Normally, he's effective on the right side. I mean, you're right. If the left side's not operating, you can normally look to Brooke on the other side, and he'll get the ball and drift in and beat men. But I think QPR perhaps had done some planning, and they had plenty of shirts in front of him. So every time he got the ball, we seemed to be running into 2 or 3 hoop shirts, and it just wasn't happening for any of them. I mean, I'd include Zian Fleming, Paul, as well. He didn't show much.
I don't know if he even. My brother said, did he even touch the ball? I don't know what he did. He just drifted around.
Watmore barely touched the ball. I mean, that's what hurts a little bit yesterday, because we had a good travelling support there. And I don't know about you. I mean, I don't think any of us could have watched it and seen much different, but I didn't see any hunger. I mean, QPR had more desire than we did, Paul.
They did.
yesterday. That's not right. That can't continue. I don't know what Joe Edwards is going to do about it. They said, I might have read it, someone else might have put the words in his mouth, but they said we let ourselves down, and I'd include let the support down because we had good support there yesterday. And to produce a shambles like that, I don't understand where we've gone from looking so good last weekend
Yeah, it was.
to that.
I know it was pessimistic, and I felt, this is like, is he doing a row it and coming for the point? And maybe I'm overthinking it, and like maybe that's why Joe Bryan wasn't going forward.
Maybe.
Maybe he was sat back because they got that guy up front who's a bit of a handful. He's very quick, very strong, very powerful. Is it Anderson? I can't remember his name.
I believe so. Number 30, be putting himself about.
Yeah,
They've got some nippy little wingers there, Paul, as well. I mean, both they look dangerous when they came forwards. I thought both halves really.
Yeah, and
Which,
they should, 'cause they're terrible. It's just like they can't score.
yes, that's it.
They can't score at home. One of the guys I was with, it's my older brother, funnily enough. He is
Yeah.
actually a QPR fan. He said that's the first goal they scored at their shed end in since last season. So they're awful.
I don't know. I was just looking at the BBC report. They'd lost 5 of their last 6 previous games, including the 2-0 defeat at ours on Boxing Day. And
yeah.
I mean, when you watch got on the website today and got the extended highlights, which is extended only because it's purely QPR chances. I mean, there was those just 2 Millwall moments, and the rest of it is QPR opportunity. I actually think they had a fair shout for a penalty. There was a moment in the second half where, like the cliche has it, you've seen them given. It was a ball fired into, I think it was Wes Harding, and it's got hit him on the hand. But touch and go for a moment. I think they might have had a shout for that. They were quite outraged online. But I think for the 2 goals, Paul, the point I wanted to really make, which bothers me a lot, is the first goal was a crossing from the right side, and I think knocked back across the face of the 6-yard box. And we were beaten inside our own 6-yard box, beaten to pace by a QPR player who simply touched it in. And the second goal, which was down at your end, so to speak, was Sarkic got down, couldn't hold a shot, and again, it runs loose, and the QPR striker is first to the ball. That's twice. 2 goals conceded by not being quick enough in their own 6-yard box. That's a problem, mate, I think.
Yeah, scrappy. I didn't have the best view of that first goal, but I watched it back just before I came.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. It was, they had more desire to get to that. It's the second ball, right? I remember playing youth football, and when I was 10, and they were always talking about the second ball. You got to be first to the second ball. You're right. We were caught sleeping at the back, and they were more up for it at the end of the day. I don't even know if it's a pace thing because it's such tiny margins in the 6-yard area. All you got to do is stick your foot out. But
no, I was going to come on to that because you're right. I mean, there's the physical pace, which is one thing. But what's that expression? Half the game is played in the head, isn't it, or something? I can't remember how the quote goes now. But most of the action takes place in your head. And I've had an email in from one of our listeners, Mike Bissiker, talking about Kevin Nisbet and criticising his game, so to speak. I just wanted to run this past you, actually, see what you think. He says he's been watching Nisbet closely over the last few games, and he's concluded he doesn't have a football brain. He seems unable to make meaningful runs in search of passes. He's continue on his heels flat-footed when he's in advanced positions and very slow to react to play. He can score when he's in the right place, but he's not sure he fits into Millwall's style. Now, in a sense, to sum it up, it's lacking football intelligence. I'd also include quite a large swathe of our players as not thinking quick enough. I mean, those 2 goals, probably good examples. Balls coming into your own danger zone, and we weren't alive to the possibilities. And I mean, Nisbet is one player Mike's picked out there, and I kind of know where he's going with that. But I'd include a large chunk of our current squad. And I think that's a problem for Joe Edwards, because I think he's used to playing with players that do think fast and think quickly, and we don't.
Yeah, admittedly, I've not watched loads of Nisbet, but I'd have to, from what I saw yesterday and the other stuff I've seen, I think it makes me wonder if, in a way, we have been blessed to have Bradshaw in that because under Rowett we create so little. You know,
Yeah.
so he has to sort of go above and beyond just to even get a sniff at anything. So he's
Yeah.
willing to do 99% waste his time running around for that one sliver of an opportunity. Whereas in this bit, he looks like he could be a finisher, but on a showing like that yesterday, he's not going to get anything. But is he going to
No.
do what Bradshaw does and chase loose ends all game in the hope that he's going to get a sniff? You know,
Don't
is that
seem
a
to, does he? Yeah.
No, but if you give, I don't know. I wonder if you give him an opportunity, is he going to put the ball in it? I mean, he had his one yesterday and he skied it, but I don't know. Yeah, maybe you're right.
Previously, I'd liked him. I mean, I must admit, but we're picking out in this bit, and we've drawn obviously fairly early in the game, 56 minutes for the strange choice of Ryan Longman. We're then really playing without a striker in effect, which is odd choice by Joe Edwards. There's two schools of thought on that. One, this is a very, very stupid substitution because, I mean, with the one striker we do have, no matter how badly he's playing, Paul, you still would. He's still a sniffer. He's still a poacher of a goal. He's someone that will get you something if you give him half a chance, possibly. Certainly, if he's not on the field, he can't do that. And we're then playing effectively without a striker in a game that we're chasing. So, two schools of thought. One is that Joe Edwards doesn't know what he's doing substitution-wise. That's one school of thought. The other is he's trying to send some kind of message to to Mr. Berylson that we need money to buy a decent striker. That's the kind of Jose Mourinho school of, deep football games. What do you think, mate? How do you see that?
That thought hadn't occurred to me. I mean, maybe you're right. He did work on the Mourinho, right? Maybe he has learned those.
Rang him up last week, didn't he? Apparently, check out Tanganga. Yeah,
the dark, and he's just been sacked, and he that Mourinho.
He's loose. Yeah, I'd have him down the den if he's free, but I don't think we can afford him.
He's been known for playing like horrible football.
Well, that's the Rowett times 10, isn't he? He's the ultimate Rowett style.
But I didn't get that logic of pulling off Nisbet and bringing on Lot. I don't know what that was, and I didn't. The possibly trying to highlight to the chairman that he needs a striker. That thought hadn't occurred to me.
That is very devious thinking. As I'm getting older, Paul, I'm getting more and more devious in my thinking on football. I don't know whether that was what it was, but certainly it illustrated, if not whether he meant it to or not, that we don't have a striker. The other thing, I mean, obviously we saw Tanganga who came in, didn't have time to really make a huge difference to the game, and interestingly, I thought Murray Wallace, who actually looked more attacking minded and had a little bit more intent than Joe Bryan, much touted Joe Bryan. But those are the only three substitutions, Paul. And sitting on the bench, mate, is one that Roman Esse, a player we talk about a lot, but we don't see barely at all. Now, that was a game yesterday where we were bereft of creativity out there. We had no imagination. And who knows whether Roman could have come into that game and made a difference. We don't really know, but we certainly can't make a difference sat on the bench, can he? And I don't understand what's afoot with that, because surely that was the ideal opportunity to give him a go, but we don't see him.
No, I felt mildly reassured whenever it was Christmas, I think it was, when Joe Edwards came out and he was asked about it in maybe was it South London Press? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
he said that there's nothing going on. He's a young player, so I was wondering that yesterday, but also Saville was warming up in the second half. He was running down the touchline where we were, and I'm sort of nudging my brother, thinking, like, come on, this needs someone to liven things up a bit. And
we want spirit. We want a bit of passing. I mean, again, just looking at Denor. I mean, I know he's come back from injury recently, but he's sat on the bench. So there's some strange choices, substitution, tactical choices, perhaps. I don't know. Esse, who knows? I think we've done that subject to death one way and the other, but we don't seem to. We don't see him yesterday in a game where we're chasing, we're a goal down. I get he's a young player, and you don't want to throw them into the maelstrom of Championship football too quickly. I get that. But if you don't use them you got to learn. At some point you got to take the wheel of the car, haven't you? You got to start driving the car. You don't learn by thinking about it forever. And we're not seeing him, so it beats me.
It's not like he hasn't already come on and showed showed bits. You know,
No, he showed he can do it. He's played at a high level.
Yeah,
English, for some reason, Joe Edwards didn't see him as useful yesterday. So who knows?
I forget his name, but the one of the centre backs for QPR, quite a tall guy.
Yeah,
I was watching him. Whenever he get the ball, he's like sort of like Jake Cooper with the ball. He's a bit like Bambi on ice.
mm,
Someone could get round this guy easy.
yeah.
Someone tricky who's willing to make those runs. But there was no one
No
on
one
that side.
pressing. No one
No one
pressing.
pressing. And SA maybe could have opened them up, or an Amaku, but I get Amaku's still injured. Right?
Marco's injured, but SA certainly you'd have backed him to cause them problems. Back at the start of the game, and you said it at the start of our conversation, when we did mildly get at them a little bit, they looked very uncomfortable with the ball.
They did.
They were playing ball straight into touch. They were looking like they were at panic stations, Paul. So, but we didn't follow that up. So there it is. It finished 2-0. Cold day. Miserable day. That was that. So there we are. We stay in the 18th position, 32 points. We're 8 points clear of QPR. Do move up a few. They move up a place to 24. I don't know. I mean, there's clearly something in the team. There's you've got this double strand. We've clearly got potential to play some decent football. We did have a run of decent results over Christmas. And I don't want to cling on to that half an hour against Middlesbrough too much, Paul, but I'm starting to wonder whether that's like, I don't know, like some golden memory that we're going to live on forever, that we never see it again, because the second half against Borough was pretty shambolic, and that certainly yesterday was shambolic. We've got to find some hunger from somewhere, or bring some players in. I don't know. We'll see how the transfer window goes, mate, won't we?
It's just occurred to me that I wonder if it's, given the Leicester game and the Middlesbrough game where they played well for spells, but look, still shipped 3 goals in both games. I wonder if they've become like risk averse, if they're now scared to push forward, and they've lost considerably while still playing well. So I wonder if they've gone back to being nervy and don't want to take too many risks.
Maybe. I mean, Joe Edwards has obviously come to us from a very high level, not front man, but certainly he's played. He's coached with Chelsea and Everton and the England national side. He's used to playing with top quality players, which the best will in the world. Most of that squad there must know they would not feature in Joe Edwards' ideal squad at Millwall. I mean, all right, we're not going to be able to go and sit at the top table of European football and compete for the biggest names. But, if Joe Edwards was to sit down with a realistic idea of what that squad would look like in championship terms, Millwall terms, probably don't include many of that squad. I wonder whether that's demotivating them in some way, whether they don't believe in themselves knowing that. I don't know. Maybe I'm going around in circles slightly, but I just wonder whether there's a certain lack of self-belief that they can't play this style particularly. I mean, they couldn't play it particularly well yesterday. Passing out from the back yesterday was giving me, I don't need any more heart conditions, Paul. I'm certainly getting itchy up in that high level, which the higher level at the away end, there's you had a strange sense that you're going to lean over and fall onto the pitch at any moment. It's because you had the rail seating up there, so it's odd. But there we are. Finished 2-0, and we move on now to Preston next week. Let's keep our fingers crossed for that. Paul, I want you to tell me about being a spoken word artist. I've listened to your podcast, Lager Time, which was the most recent edition. Really interesting, mate. Very different to what I'd listened to. I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't have thought to listen to it, but you flagged it up. I'm glad you did, because I enjoyed it.
Oh, it's a very niche thing, what I do. It's like I'm like a niche within a niche. But
I like niche. Tell me about this. Is a niche podcast in the first place. So it's an interesting approach, because you're kind of combining a bit of music with a bit of, laugh at me if you like, but it's like a rhythmic type of speaking, isn't it? It's like
I suppose so. I mean, it depends what I'm doing. That is like the Lager Time stuff. I script it out, and then now I'm just.
So you do this live and free form, so to speak,
sometimes.
Yeah.
suppose I do a mixture of things. I started off as a rapper, 20 years ago. I still do that stuff.
Yeah.
I've written stories, poems. I've written a few plays. I guess what I do is probably a combination of all of those things. Sometimes I might do something that rhymes or whatever, and
Okay.
sometimes I don't. Depends what it is, really. That lager time stuff is. I don't even know how I came on to doing it that way. But I don't know. Something a little bit. I don't know. They're sort of attempts at essays. I'm not a massively educated person, but I try and
I understand. Yeah.
read things. Yeah. But yeah, I do rhythmic stuff, rapping and poetry. I've been doing that for years. Lucky enough, it's my job, if you like.
Nice one. It's
Yeah.
interesting. Check Paul out on Twitter. X it's called now, not Twitter anymore, is it? At Paul Cree. That's spelled Paul CREE. And you got your kind of links on there, Paul, to your various sites, the podcast and so on. So yeah, have a look, check it out. I was interested. I wouldn't have thought to have listened to it, listeners. So I'm not going to beat around the bush. It wouldn't have been my thing ordinary, but Paul gave me a shout, and I listened to it. I'm glad I did, because it's an interesting story. It's an unusual Millwall story in a way.
I appreciate it. You know what, it's actually my brother that said. My brother Nat, he was like, "Why don't you tell Nick from AchtungMillwall?" Because we've been listening for years. And it's like there's been periods over the last 10 years. Is that how long you've been doing this? Maybe 8 years?
Oh, mate, I've been doing it forever. Yeah, I was thinking it's about 10 plus years, 11 years possibly now since I started.
I remember, but there was periods where I couldn't get to games, and I don't get to that many anymore. So it was a good resource, to be able to stay plugged in, and now I pay that 50 quid for Millwall TV. I don't know exactly what I get for it, but I was watching Crossbar Challenge the other week. What is this?
Why are we watching this nonsense? Yeah.
But I like the interviews with. I like watching Joe Edwards the interviews and stuff.
He talks well, doesn't he? Speaks well. I'm hoping that we've got enough in our squad to survive in the Championship. I think that's crucial that we survive in the Championship. We don't get drawn into any kind of relegation fight, and that he gets a chance to rebuild that squad. Because I think at its best, what we've seen with Joe Edwards is really, really entertaining, high quality football. I just don't think he's quite got the palette to paint the masterpiece at the moment. He needs some better quality paint, so to speak.
I thought it was interesting. This scout guy from Palace.
Yeah, the Crystal Palace boy. Yeah.
I've never heard of the guy, but I'm looking at their roster at Palace. The kids that they've put through. They've had some really good kids, so I'm hoping that's a move for the future, which could wield. Some
benefits. We've got to get better at reaping the local talent. There's loads. I mean, it's well known as a hotbed of football talent, Southeast London, and we've got to get better at finding it and keeping it.
Lewisham alone, there's been
100%. 100%. How we let half of it go is heartbreaking. But there we are. Let's hope that's the start of an improved way of running the club.
Yeah,
Paul, I want to say thank you, mate. Big welcome on the show. We're going to see you again. We'll do it again, mate. I've enjoyed it. Nice one. Nice one to talk to you.
Thank you for having me. Cheers, Nick.
At Paul Cree on Twitter. Paul Cree, listeners, check him out.
Achtung, Millwall.
Huge thank you to Paul Cree for joining us on the show to review yesterday's utter disappointment at Loftus Road. I want to say a big thank you to you too, dear listeners, for joining me on the show. Big thank you to everyone that managed to contribute to the Achtung calendar appeal. We're one way and the other, including a very generous donation from an anonymous listener. The whole effort produced a donation to the Food Hub of £1,000 all in, and that was the aim and the target I set myself at the start of it. And thank you to the anonymous listener. We actually made it. We were able to donate £1,000 to Kelly at the Lions Food Hub in January, always a difficult month. And that's what it's all about, listeners. Obviously difficult in the wake of yesterday's utter shambles. Let's hope that we can see some better football next Saturday at home to Preston, which is assuming larger importance when you look at the fixtures ahead during the course of February. But anyway, we'll one bridge at a time. We'll cross one bridge at a time, as my old nan used to say. So a big thank you for listening to this week's show. This is part one of a two-parter. We've got some voicemails to react to, which I will be doing probably tomorrow now, listeners. I'm on a bit of a schedule today, Sunday. So this is part one of a double-header show in the wake of that loss yesterday at QPR. But the voicemail show, a big thank you to everyone that's sending. You've still got time to send me your reaction, thoughts or musings on yesterday's performance via X or WhatsApp if you've got my phone number. So still some time if you want to have your say. Big thank you to everyone that sent the comments in. I will be doing that show tomorrow. That'll be part two of this weekend show. But until the next edition of AchtungMillwall, dear listeners, from me, Nick Hart, signing out from yesterday's misery, it's Arrivederci Millwall and bye for now.